first initial year, doing the business before the business, right? So I was still working within a practice, but I started just building my brand within the community, becoming known for my specialty, working in obesity medicine. I was the kind of person that I only did presentations when I absolutely had to. Speaking was not something I wanted to do. And definitely wouldn't go and ask people to work with me. So it was a huge just mindset shift and confidence booster to go out and speak in the community and serve people in that way, and go out and talk to potential referral sources, and really share my vision, and really serve. And it really didn't take long at all for me to become known as the expert in the community. And patients just started coming already before I even transitioned to my private practice. So I launched my private practice in April of this year. And I think one of the biggest kind of supports of like how important EBS was for me was launching this new practice, not knowing what my financial status was going to be. So many people told me, people that were not familiar with EBS were like, you can't really trust that a lot of people will follow you. You're probably going to have to build. It'll take 2 to 3 years for you to really establish yourself. And in that mindset, I was really wondering, can I continue to be a part of EBS? Is this a financial cost that I can continue? And really thinking it over and discussing it with my husband, it took about a 5-minute conversation for us to decide, like, it wasn't that I had to worry about not or that I had to worry about the cost of being in EBS still. It was that I needed to worry about the cost of not being in it. And my husband, we always joke at EBS that my husband calls it a built-in business expense. It's like a non-negotiable business expense. And really it's an investment rather than an expense, right? Because I couldn't imagine moving forward with this process without having the community that I've had to help me along. So April, I launched my practice full. My first day, I think I had 17 patients, and we were full right from the start. Within 6 weeks, I had to hire a nurse practitioner to help see patients. And to date, so this is April to now just November, she is full. We each see 18 to 22 patients a day. So with my practice, we usually have kind of longer appointments for coaching and motivational interviewing. So 18 to 22 patients a day is pretty busy for us. I actually hired a second nurse practitioner today. And then I have a doc that I've hired that's starting in March. So we've seen rapid growth, and I don't think I would have been able to keep up with, well, the growth I wouldn't have had without the support and the mindset and the marketing and building the brand locally. But also I wouldn't have been able to just within my own confidence in my thoughts, maintaining this or supporting this scale without losing the quality if I didn't have the support that I have. So it's been exciting. We kind of knocked down walls and expanded into the suite next to us. And I never would have thought that within my first year, I'd be looking to be on track of, having over $1 million in revenue. And it's just been an incredible experience. I still went to Italy for 2 weeks in July. When I first decided to transition to the private practice, there was a significant thought that I had that I needed to cancel this trip that we had planned 2 years ago. And from coaching from the community, that we need to start our business in the way we want to continue to have our business and maintain our life and that work-life balance. And I decided to with the coaching that I received of like, how can I still go to Italy? What do I need to create to still make this happen? Because the whole point of this was to build a life that I wanted. So I was able to go on this amazing vacation the first year, continue to grow and expand, and build a practice within less than a year that I never would have thought of that I would be able to accomplish in the 3 years that everyone else told me I would need to build my own panel.
So many amazing wins in that. Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Golden. Can we give her some love in the comments? My goodness. Each time I was like, oh, I wanted to interject so many times because you said so many amazing things that I wanted to speak about. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of them. So first of all, I love that you have kind of never thought about doing your practice, or if you thought about it, it was somewhere down the line. But coming into EBS, you not only decided to start your practice, but you started what we call the business before the business, where if there's anyone on the line or that has not started a practice yet and you're thinking about starting a practice, that you join this call just so you know what to do when you start your practice. That's something we do in EBS, where we get you busy before you even get busy. Notice Dr. Golden said that she was, she started her practice full from day one, and within 6 weeks she had to hire. So what happens is that she was building her brand. She was out speaking, she was out getting into the community. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, because you said you got the mindset to do it, something that you would have never done. So how did that, or how did EBS fit into all of that for you?
Yeah, I think, Dr. Una in her coaching and encouraging, and there's a lot of just workshops and classes available on how to become a speaker, and really shifting that mindset of you're there to serve, right? And as long as you continue to focus on you're there to provide a service, to share what you know, and you can never go wrong, really, as long as you're there with that vision and mission to serve. And that really changed my whole approach um, to speaking,
Mhm.
because I think I would always get caught up in my head of, um, what if I say something wrong? What if it's not the right thing? And just a lot of compare-itis, and just doubting myself. And there's just a lot of encouragement and celebrating wins along the way that really reinforces your self image of that you're capable, and that you have a story to share. Like, nobody knows my story better than I do, and I have a story to share, and I have um, a mission that is important to me, and as long as I stay true to that, that is going to continue to serve me and serve others.
And thank you for sharing that, because entrepreneurship can be lonely, right? And it can be daunting at times. And, we're celebrating your wins, because these are incredible wins. I mean, you're on track for 7 figures in 1 year. Oh my goodness, you're on track for that. And, you're able to go to Italy for 2 weeks after just starting a brand new practice, and, just really incredible wins. Already have 2 hires already, and then another provider going to be hired in March. So really impactful wins. But we're not downplaying the fact that the day to day can be difficult. We're not downplaying the fact that it can be hard, to run a team and, get them to understand what you want, get them to share your vision, get them to see patients with the same quality that you see them. That some of the things that Dr. Unas taught us in this workshop about finding the losses and attacking them, attacking them head on, creating initiatives in the office, looking at your numbers, which is very hard, and making those changes. So can you tell us a little bit about, I know definitely the community had a lot to do with it. Can you tell us a little bit about how, the some of the other components of the school helped in that area in terms of, the workshops with Dr. Una, the success groups, the challenges? How does it all play in together to be able to help you to get these things done? Because yes, could you have done them on your own? Probably, but it's a little different when you have
Yeah.
support.
So when I first came on, I'd say I was really intimidated in some ways. I think as many of us are, and I think that was one of my hesitations at first to join EBS was just like, gosh, a meeting every week, and then there's all these challenges, and then there's a book, and then I don't know if I have this kind of time, and really talking to so many other people, and Dr. Una encouraging as well too that there are a lot of people that get significant wins, significant changes doing 20% of it, right? And making the time for it. And I embraced early on that if I couldn't show up for the Wednesday night lives, I would watch it, when it was available, when it was convenient for me, even if it was in 15-minute segments, just realizing that I didn't have to do it perfectly to get what I needed out of it, right? And the challenges were really helpful, where we would have challenges of like post 5 times a week, ask so many times a day, ask people to work with you, ask people to refer patients to you. And those are things that I wouldn't ever have really thought of making that big of a difference. But they do. They make the snowball effect occurs. And so we'll have challenges in accountability to share with each other that, yes, I asked so many times and I posted so many times. And then you see the effect of it, and you see how a post you did 6 weeks ago got you a patient today. And then it really inspires you of this concept of that it's always working. And then you celebrate these wins, and it just propels you forward. Um, then there's the success group, that is so amazing that I really block and reserve that time. So it's like a smaller accountability group that we break off into in a time that works for you. And we can ask questions and support each other if something's going on. But a lot of times it's just that protected time that we all sit on together and get our work done. That usually the frogs that we don't
Mhm.
want we're dreading doing that we need to get done, and then we can do it in community and support. um, and then we have a book of the month usually, and they're always incredible books with great professional and personal development opportunities. I've enjoyed every one of them. I make my husband read them as well too, and it's great to share that. But I always want to remind uh, everyone that's considering joining, or even newer people that are in EBS, because we can think that, oh, I've got to do all this. And there are books that I still am like halfway through, and I've moved on to the next one. And so as long as you're putting in whatever time and effort you have in this season of your life, you're going to get something out of it. And that, I think that's the biggest takeaway from that, is to not let this idea of it being such a big time commitment to stand in your way, because you're able to make it work for you, and you'll see significant results. Like um, I'm still struggling with developing my YouTube channel, right? But I keep chipping away at it, and my team members always encourage me that what I'm able to do right now is enough. So.
That was so good. I mean, we've really learned so much from that because it's a combination of you just keeping forward, that forward movement, and also getting all the support that you need, and also getting the strategy and the coaching that you need in order to do it. That is really good. One last thing, and you've been so gracious with your time. I want to thank you for that. One last thing, you mentioned earlier that your husband said that the EntreMD Business School is a fixed non-negotiable business expense. And I talk to a lot of physicians, and I just like to keep things real. I've had quite a few physicians, not a lot, but I've had some tell me, the price point they're just not ready for that price point. And you even talked about at some point you're asking yourself, should I continue? I've already done a year. The year was great because you're actually in year 2. So what would you say to anyone that's considering the school, but they're hung up on, I'm just not sure that I can pay that I can make that investment. I'm sure the school is great, but I just don't see myself making that investment at this time. What would you say?
I think it's so important to look at it as an investment in yourself. And that was a concept I wasn't used to, which sounds silly because, I mean, how much did we invest into going to medical school, right? I mean, the amount of time and money that it took to get the training that we currently have. But this is one of the first things the first time that I really feel like I invested in myself personally and professionally, and I've increased my own personal net worth, right? And I think it's really something to really look at it as an investment in yourself, commit to the fact that you're going to get returns out of it, and you will. I mean, it's going to change you personally, professionally. It's going to change whatever practice you're in. It's going to change the way you approach your career for the rest of your career. So I just would encourage people to try to get past that doubt, because it truly is an investment that you're going to get returns on.
And I love the fact that you brought it back to you, after you leave the EntreMD Business School, which you may never leave. Some people say they're going to be there for life. You're in there for life, right? There's a few EBSers for life, but after you leave, you're taking all of that with you. I mean, you're the one building the brand. You're the one that is now the subject matter expert. You're the one that CNN is calling. You're the one that's doing all these talks in the community. So whatever you gain from it is yours to keep. And not only that, I mean, you're living your dream life and your dream business all at once. So I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? And we have, if you check on the YouTube channel, we have so many of these stories, just like yours, Dr. Golden, of people in the school that are doing exactly what you are, living their dream life with their dream business. Thank you so much for your time. This has been phenomenal. Let's give her some love in the comments. And if anyone has any questions for her, Dr. Golden, can you tell us how to find you? Or if we have any questions, or if anybody has any patients to refer to you, tell us where to find you.
Yeah, so weightandgoldwellness.com, and then Weight and Gold Wellness on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if you decide you wanted to reach out to Dr. Golden, you absolutely could. Sometimes I hear people say, well, I want to talk to a student. I really want to talk to a student. You absolutely could. She's given you her a way of contacting her. Thank you so much for this time. This is your story is really phenomenal, and we are so grateful that you took the time to share it. So I'm going to post the link for the school in the comments for those of you who may not have it from before. Go ahead and fill out an application. If you have questions, if you're thinking, you know what, all of these things like Dr. Una has talked about these past couple of days, I know I need to do them, but I just don't have I just don't trust myself to actually get them done. I don't know if I'm actually going to get them done. And then I still have questions about the right way to do them. This is what we're here for. We provide you the coaching, we provide you the accountability, we provide you the community to get those things done, to get you to the place where you're building your dream life and building your dream business. I want to address something that I've heard so many people say, and you may be thinking it, right? I've heard quite a few people ask me this question. They ask the question of, okay, you know what? In the business school, there are people with different types of businesses. So I have a private practice, So how am I going to get my specific questions answered? And I've had that. I've had people ask that. So I want to tell you how that happens. Now, yes, the business school does have people with, there are coaches, physician coaches in the business school. There are physicians that have products in the business school. There are physicians that are not just private practice with insurance, but also private practice with direct primary care. So you have all those different businesses in the school. But guess what? We are learning from each other. And the beauty of it is you can learn from someone that is a coach in the way that they market. You can learn from someone that is in private practice in the way that they market. I mean, we all learn from each other, and it's just phenomenal. Now, there's another thing that happens too, is that we have people with different tiers. There are people that are just starting out, like Dr. Golden, when she was an entrepreneur, just starting out building her brand. But there are also people in the school that are, making 7 figures in their business. But what you've come to learn is that the business skills are transferable. And a lot of times those that are making 7 figures are learning from the hunger of the new people. And then the new people are learning from the wisdom of those that have been in business for a while. But let me still answer your question. How do you get your own specific questions answered? Now, there's a few different ways that you can get your own specific questions answered. One of the first ways is in the live sessions that we have with Dr. Una. Now, we have live sessions every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. At the end of those live sessions, Dr. Una always asks, does anyone have any questions? And you get to ask questions then. So you get to ask them live with Dr. Una. That's number one. The second way you can get your specific questions answered, because people are always afraid, oh, I have a unique business, which you do. You have unique business, you have unique needs. The second way is in your success group. Dr. Golden did a fabulous job telling us about the success groups. Now, the success groups are smaller cohorts within the school. So you get to find a success group that meets at a time that's convenient for you. And within that success group, you get a chance to ask questions. The success groups, I don't think we have any success group that's bigger than 20 people, smaller group. And you get to ask questions. And that success group also is where you get to implement everything that you've learned. So like Dr. Golden mentioned, you're not looking for a different time to implement. You actually get to implement right then and there. So, and you get to ask your specific question there. Another area you get to ask your specific question is in the Facebook group. Our Facebook group is phenomenal. Oh my gosh. It's not the same as, where you ask a question and you get crickets, right? You get to ask questions in the Facebook group, and people will, even Dr. Una will go in there and answer your questions. And then one of the other ways that you get to get your specific questions answered is in the EntreMD Vault. When you join the EntreMD Business School, something phenomenal happens. You get access to every single resource that has ever been in the school. So let's say, for example, we are dealing with how to get your team to share your vision, how to motivate your team. Let's say that's what Dr. Una is teaching. But you want to know, how do I create these Facebook posts that is going to make my patients come running through the door? Let's just say that's what you want to know. You could ask Dr. Una during the live session, or you could also look in the vault, the EntreMD Business School vault, and you'll see tons of live sessions where Dr. Una taught on that. So I hope that's helpful for someone who may be wondering, like, am I going to be able to get my own specific questions answered? How am I going to be able to get my my business challenges met? So that's I wanted to make sure I put that out there. I hope that's helpful to everyone, to anyone. Now we have one more. Doctor, can you guys handle another success story? Now, Dr. Mukanga is relatively new in the school. So she is going to, I'm going to ask her to unmute. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi.
How are you, Dr. Mukanga? Tell us about yourself and your experience with the school, and any wins that you love to share, tangible and intangible.
Oh, yeah. So I'm Dr. Valerie Mukanga. I am, contrary to everybody else who are physicians, I'm actually a dentist. I'm a general dentist, and I am the CEO and owner of Healing Wings Dental, which is located in Arlington, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we've been in business for 7 years. So prior to joining EBS, I would see Dr. Una's post on my Facebook story. And one day I tried to apply and I looked at the price. I was like, I can't really do it. So then one of my friends, Caroline Clarice May, who is the founder of Doctors Out of Death, she's also a dentist. She led me to Dr. Una by ways of her podcast, and I started listening. That was like one of the first podcasts I've ever listened to. And it was so invaluable that I would just binge watch and just listen, and started transforming from then. But then last year, October 25th is when I joined after a session just like this. And I was like, you know what, let me just do it. And I'm just going to pay it, just as a consulting fee, or just learning from my office. So it's a business expense now. And I tell you that I have just changed so much since I joined EBS. So before EBS, and I'm just one to be kind of like more shy. So I like to be really reserved. I was just more focused on seeing my patients, and I didn't want to do any marketing. I tell you that the first time I had to do like a video campaign for an Invisalign campaign, we were doing a video for Invisalign campaign we were doing. I was hyperventilating just to do like a 3-minute video. And so, yeah, so that was me before. But then when I joined EBS, I was just encouraged to become Googleable. And that being said, it means that you have to position yourself and just show out, so that, the more you show up, the more, your name can be Googleable. So that's one of the first things that I had learned. And so I went to the retreat, and it was in April, and it was amazing. I think it was the Vision Retreat. No, I can't remember what it was called, but I went to that and I got to meet some people, and it was amazing. When I came back, I decided I was done just hiding, and I was just going to go on to being greater. And so I changed things at work. We started morning huddle and things like that. And I started making videos from then on. I started a YouTube channel. Yeah, and on Facebook I wasn't very active still, just a little bit here and there. But after this vision retreat, I decided to start on doing a live. So every Tuesday I have a live on Facebook. I have more posting. We started asking more Google reviews to our patients. And so that is increasing. There's just so much change. Even as a leader, I'm more assertive, as a doctor with my team, telling them, what needs to be done, what needs to be fixed. And my patient just still love us. And even though like with the video, I feel like there's not, when you put it like on a business page, what we learn is, first of all, that we don't have to be taken aback or just wait for perfection to get something done. So even if it's not perfect, you still have to put your foot forward and get it done, because perfection will come over time. So that's my mindset now. My mindset has really, really changed. Even when I walk, I'm a kid, I'll tell you, and everyone, like, I feel myself walking straighter with my head up high. Like, it's really changed. And I was one to not really want to read any books or anything like that. But now I'm like, because we have assignments, I start, listening more to audiobooks, but not just now what is assigned to us. I even go to other books and start re-listening to them. So I've changed a lot, so much so that even one time my mom wrote Dr. Una to say thank you. I can see the change in my daughter. So that's really, like, in short, what I really wanted to share. One more thing, revenue-wise, I had dreamed of the day that we would make 100K a month. And the month of August, we surpassed that amount, and I was so.
Wow.
And the month of September, we came really, really close. And even though, you know, September is more referred as September, to us, it was a blessed month. October, even though we went to the vision retreat, and I also had some medical appointment for which we had to close the office, we still came close. And I know that it's only going to get better. So I honestly, if I can benefit as a dentist, not even being a physician, you know, I don't know how you wouldn't benefit from the school. It's very, very effective at teaching you different strategies to just, you know, putting your best foot forward. So yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of like share about. So if you had any objections, honestly, as you see, I had mine when I first started. I thought the price would prohibit me from actually investing, but it's an investment in yourself, because you know your mindset is just changed. It's just an investment for yourself, and you're worth it. You're worth it. Your mindset is your greatest asset. So yeah, I think that you will really, really find it invaluable. The community is great. Anytime anyone has a question in the Facebook community, this is not a place where people feel like there is competition. Everybody wants to chime in and help you out. And even physicians try to find strategy to help me as a dentist. Can you imagine? So yeah, to me, if I was to do it, if I was to say one thing that I would regret is that I didn't start earlier. Yeah. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Oh my goodness. Is anyone else still stuck on 100,000 month, 100,000 month? So how you had been in business 7 years and you had never had $100,000 month?
Ever.
Never. But you were able to do it within how many months in the school? 10 months? No, yes, you did it in August, so 8 months. School. Say that again?
Yeah, no, it was October 25th, 2022. So I've been, you know, just a little over a year now.
Over a year. So August would have been a few months before that. So that is phenomenal. It's phenomenal what you can do with support. That is wonderful.
Yeah. And now everywhere I go, I have people telling me, oh yeah, you know, we watch your videos. And I'm like, you should comment. So even though people don't comment, they are watching. So, you know, I am, you know, making an impact, even though I feel like I don't necessarily make such a great impact. People are seeing what we're doing.
I love you. You have given us transformation from beginning to end. You've shown us the transformation that's happened in your mindset, the transformation that's happened in your revenue, the transformation that's happened in your life in general, right? I mean, we can see the difference, you know? So thank you so much for sharing. The link is thank you so much. The link is in the comments. You've just given us transformation after transformation. We are so grateful for that. Thank you. Let's give her some love in the comments. Dr. Shavira says, thank you for sharing. It's so inspirational. You know, a goal that you've had for 7 years in your business, you've been able to reach it. And not only that, every month you're almost there. You know, you're replicating it. You've come up with a formula to do that. So the link is in the comments. Don't do life alone. Don't do this alone. Don't do business alone. Don't do entrepreneurship alone, because you don't have to. And Dr. Mukanga can tell you that she has told you that she was thinking, you know, with the price, it's going to be prohibitive for me. But she just said, you know what? I'm either going to stay the same and get the same results, or I'm going to put something in place for me to get different results. And once she made that decision, she figured out the price, right? Dr. Mukanga, once you made the decision, like, I want something different, you figured out the price. Now you have to unmute again.
Yes, no, I don't regret the price. In fact, before I was doing some coaching that was more expensive than that, and I never really engage as well as I'm engaging now. And so I think that I'm going to be here for a long time.
Another EBSer for life. We're gonna have to get a bigger platform to handle all these people that don't want to leave. Dr. Sharuba is here. I am so glad. Thank you, Dr. Mukanga. See all the love you got in the comments. Dr.
Thank you.
Sharuba Prabhakar is here. I'm gonna ask her to unmute and let us know all about her business and her experience.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
I'm Dr. Prabhakar. I'm a OBGYN in California, and I started in the business school in 2021. And I was an employed OBGYN, and I'd already been in my position for about 6 years after graduation and fellowship. In minimally invasive surgery, and things were going fine, but at some point I was like, oh, how much, like, what am I really going to be doing this forever? Like, is this all there is? And I trained in the East Coast, where private practice was very common. When I did my fellowship and residency in New York, there were a lot of private practices. And then I moved to California in 2015, and there were like almost no private practices. So I just joined, a group practice, and I just went along with it because I thought, I had no other choice. But I knew there was more, and I was very afraid to really admit to myself that, yeah, one day I'll start a private practice, because it just was not happening in the Bay Area anyway. But I knew there was more, and I just had that itch to just figure out what that was. And so I started the business school, and I really haven't looked back. I mean, it's been amazing. I started in 2021, and now we're 2 years in, and I've just, grown and learned so much. Being with all these other amazing doctors gave me the confidence to start a practice. And if you listen to my first interview with Dr. Una on the EntreMD podcast, I talk about how so many people around me told me I was crazy and that wasn't going to work. And, I'm an OBGYN, and why would I do that? If I do that, my surgeries would go down, especially as a minimally invasive surgeon, all this negative stuff. There was only one family practice doctor who told me that I should do it. Anyway, but I had the support of EBS. And so I just decided to do it anyway. And not only did I do it, I decided to do it in a cash model, or out of network model, I should say. And so I don't know the first thing about running a business, honestly, but, I was like, okay, I went to med school, I went to fellowship, I did residency in one of the harder specialties, okay, I can figure it out. And that's what I did. And I'm 1 year into my practice. So I haven't hit 100,000 a month yet, but, I hopefully will get there one day, sooner rather than later. And it's just been it's just really built up my confidence. It's really helped me figure out that, what, we can really do whatever it is we want. Even if we don't see that example around us, we can be that example. We can actually be the first person to start a private practice in this model. And what I really found that even in the physician world, medicine and the way we practice medicine is changing very rapidly. And some of our mentors and our colleagues, they're still stuck in the old way. So when you say starting a private practice, they don't really even really know what that means anymore, because they're used to 20 staff, 2 staff per person, just all these ways, or antiquated ways. But now we know that when you run a practice, you can have a very lean staff. We have all these new technologies that we can use. We have cheaper EMRs. It's a whole different ballgame, right? So when we talk to some of our colleagues, at least when I was talking to my colleagues, I felt like they were just not even in the same page. They were just 20 years ago, and there's no point in talking to them, because they had no idea about what was possible. And then you come into EBS and you see all these other doctors starting practices, and everybody's on the cutting edge. Even every day now I learn more and more, there's these other new programs that I could use. How can I incorporate AI into the exam room? I'm learning stuff all the time, and it's very, very cutting edge, which is really cool. And if you really want to start a practice today, you kind of have to be cutting edge to really, make it work. And so it's just a perfect environment to do that and learn and just build the discipline and build the disciplines that it takes to be a business person and an entrepreneur, because these skills then translate into all the other areas of our life, which is magic. So yeah, I think I'll stop talking unless anybody has specific questions.
No, no, that was so good. Thank you so much for sharing. We love the journey that you took us on, from not really thinking about, doing a practice to realizing that, wait a minute, I can do this. And then you went on another journey, because now it's like, not only can I do this, I can do this my way. And you definitely do practice your way. I mean, Dr. Gregor Boltex, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It sounds like a lovely French name, and I probably pronounced it wrong. I'm so sorry. It may not even be French, but I apologize. But she wrote something great in the comments. She said, "Love the word lean." And it's so true. Like you can build your practice profitably. You don't have to have all these expenses. You don't have to do a crazy build out and hire 10 people from day one and, buy all these machines and hope that people use them. You can build your practice profitably from day one. You can build a practice that serves you, and which is what you wanted.
Yes.
You wanted a practice that will allow you to spend more time with your children. You have to tell us about all that.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I was just thinking, oh my gosh, yes, I forgot like the main thing. So this morning, it's a Friday. I have 3 kids, ages 3, 7, and 8. My husband runs a tech startup. So we're a very busy household. But I've learned to delegate like so much. Even, I have an au pair to help me with my kids. And after EBS, I've delegated even more things so I can really, run my business and be there for my kids. And this morning they had parent-teacher meeting. Typically, the way this works when I was employed was I would just send an email to the teachers and be like, sorry, can't make it. Can I schedule another 10 minutes with you after at pickups to talk about my kids? That's how I usually used to do it. Now, I was able to be there for all 3 meetings. I just started my patients at 10:30 today. So I, of course, had to sign up for the earlier meetings, but did that. And I felt really good. I learned about how my kids are doing. And then I came at 10:30 and I saw 5 patients, which for me is a pretty full day. A full day for me is 7 to 8 patients because I spend an hour with everybody. So I just finished my last patient, and then I was able to jump on this call. And as soon as this is done, I'm going to finish my notes, and then I'm going to go to the gym, and then I will go have dinner. We have friends coming over at 6 p.m. and I'm going to have dinner with my family. So to me, sounds pretty ideal. And
Yes.
so I was able to really make all this happen. People always ask me how do you have time to work out? You have 3 kids, how do you have time to do all this stuff? And I work out 4 to 5 times a week. I eat well. I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. I do not consider myself burnt out at all. In fact, running a business, gives me more challenges and ways to use my brain, and just to provide my patients just cutting edge. Just like my clinic is cutting edge, I feel just the way I run it is also able to provide my patients cutting edge, therapies and treatment options, because I actually have time. I have time to read. I have time to answer their questions. So it's very, very fulfilling, both on the, the medical side and the business side, but also on the personal side. And my kids see that, wow, mom runs her own business and she's able to be there for me when I need it. It's not the end of the world to move 3 or 4 patients in an afternoon if I have to pick up my kids from school or something comes up, versus before I would have 15 patients that I would have to move and I would feel so guilty. And I would be like, oh, I'm not going to move 15 patients. I'll just skip that event or something. But now I can really be there for them. And I can be there for myself. I just celebrated my 40th birthday, and I went to Vegas with my husband, planning another girls trip. You realize you have to feed your own soul, and you have to have, fill your own cup, which becomes really difficult when we're in medicine and running a rat race. So I felt like this really came at a right time when it was the antidote to burnout, and that seems a little contradictory when you first think about it. You're like, running a business as antidote to burnout. Like, how is that better than just getting a check and calling it a day, right? Yes, there is. There are challenges, but when you work in that system, at least for me, I just felt like I didn't have any autonomy. It's kind of like a robot. I had to see these 20, 25 patients. I had no time to like talk to anybody in detail. I was always nervous about missing things. And so I was able to create this nice practice. And, when there are months when I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm like going to make my income that I wanted to, I can just take a couple of calls at the hospital. I think we're all like sought after physicians. We're really well-trained physicians. So you can mix and match, which is great. When you in corporate medicine, you have to sign a contract and you have to do what they say. But now that I'm like my own boss, I can choose to work 3 days in my office, a day of OB call if I want. I can kind of mix and match things however I want, and nobody's telling me that I can't, which to me is like just beautiful.
Beautiful and priceless. Absolutely priceless. I mean, I love the fact that you spend an hour with every patient. How many doctors on this line would love to spend, an hour with a patient? And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, but I just like the fact that you're doing medicine the way you want to do it. And, and even still with having a DPC model, you're profitable, yes. Because I think how long after you started were you able to pay yourself? I think it was a few months.
No, within the first year. So the first year, everybody told me, oh, you're going to be the whole, like the first year. And I was ready for that, because I started a practice. But actually, my very first year, I made $100,000. And that was in profit. And so, I mean, I paid some of that for my, I paid myself a salary from that. But still, that was, I wasn't expecting to make any money. So, and I have a lot of overhead because I'm starting out my practice my first year. I'm in the Bay Area, so I have to pay a lot for rent, and I pay a lot for Google ads and all of these things. But still, after all that, I was still able to make a profit. So I think most medical practices don't make any money for like 3 years or something. I think that's the average statistic out there. So that was really good. Yeah.
Dr. Shubha, what I hear a lot of people tell me, and maybe you can help with this, is they tell me they know they want to make these changes. They know that they want more for their lives. They know that they probably could use some help in being more strategic about their business, but they just feel like it's not the right time yet. Like they just feel like, maybe I'll wait a little longer. Maybe that it's just not the timing. What would you say to someone who's considering their school, but they don't think that now is the time to do it?
Yeah. There's never a good time for something like this. And I would say, you don't know what you don't know. And that is kind of a big price to pay if you're trying to be an entrepreneur. Because, I didn't really know what I would get in the business school. I didn't have like a plan. I didn't have like my top 3 goals. I didn't have any of that. I just knew that I wanted more. I really, Dr. Una really spoke to me. I felt like this community was great, and I just went for it. And wow, like my mind is blown as to how much I've learned, how much I've developed, so that who I am today is not who I was last year. I'm just like growing leaps and bounds. And so I wouldn't wait for the perfect time, because you don't know when that time is, and you don't know what you're missing. So I would say this is one of the most, probably the only and most innovative schools out there, with this kind of community, with this kind of coach and leader, and this kind of team. So I would just do it, because you'll make up your investment in the first year. Like there's just no doubt. And you'll just really expand your mind to the possibilities out there. And there's really no price for that, right? Like we all run very different businesses. It's not like everybody runs an out-of-network private practice or anything. Some people don't even do anything to do with medicine. They're running a business. So it's, but you learn from all these people. So yeah, consider it your, gift to yourself, self-development, and you won't regret it.
Thank you so much for that. And I just love the fact that you turned 40, which you still look 30. 30 is the new 40 is the new 30. You know, you turn 40 and then all these amazing things are just falling into place for you. You're able to go on a trip with your husband to Vegas, having a girls trip. You know, you're running a thriving business, able to be there for your children. But that sounds all amazing, right? But guess what? It wasn't by accident. She didn't just stumble upon this life. She got this life because she was very specific and purposeful about it, and she got the direction and the guidance to get it. And you can as well. Did you have something to say about that?
No, I was saying absolutely. You know, now when I look at how much have I accomplished in a year, I'm like, what was I doing in my 30s? Like, you know, I mean, I read like 15, 20 books a year now. I mean, since joining EBS. And, you know, before I used to struggle just to get through 2 books because there's no time, there's no, you know, whatever, all these excuses, right? But yeah, it just puts you in a different trajectory, and your network is expanded. And yeah, I like how you said it, it really makes you create a very meaningful and purposeful life. And that's, I think, what we all want at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, right? And then there's always that adage that says, if you want something different, you have to do something different. If you want next year to be different than 2020, if you want 2024 to be different from 2023, there has to be something different. You know, we have to have something that we do that is different than what we've done. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the comments. And again, I'm going to just let you know that that link is just for a conversation with me. It's not binding. You're not going to get sent a bill after you fill an application. What's going to happen is you and I will have a conversation, and we're going to see if this school is good for you. If you know, would be a good fit for the school, if you could benefit from the school in the goals that you've set for yourself, and we will have a conversation. So that's all that is. So go ahead and fill out an application. We're looking for it. We're on standby to review it. Dr. Barker has been so amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Let's give her some more love in the comments. You already have a bunch of people that are like, oh my goodness, way to go. Congratulations. And happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your story can be like theirs. I want to see each of you have these same kind of stories by next year. We have learned 7 ways that private practice owners leave money on the table every single day, but I would love to see you recoup all of that money. And not only that, to start living the life that you've always wanted to do. And it's not a cliche thing. You've seen it. It's not cliche. It absolutely can happen. If it happened for them, it can happen for you. So I want to encourage you to fill out an application, and let's get started on the rest of your life. All right, everybody, have a wonderful night. It's been wonderful spending time with you. Take care.